It's another beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome to the exciting breakfast show on Camnet TV. My name is Marco Kwakos. Now, this is a program that comes to you every morning on all the weekdays. We bring to you nothing but the latest of what is happening around us as regards news and current affairs. Also, we do look at sports. Now, on the program today, we have a fully packed program. My colleague Patrick Soko will be joining me shortly. And we have a lot of interesting stuff. We have our health corner. We are going to be zooming in on our stories just to see what is making the headlines in the news. And we are also going to be looking at what was happening in the world of sports in the past few days. But before we do that, let's get started with our health corner as we listen to the doctor and what they have for us.
Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Namunji Matale from the Medical Women's Association of Zambia Executive, particularly under the Committee of Ethics and Advocacy. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Pinktober, hence the pink ensemble that you see here. And we are spreading awareness about breast cancer because it's one of the most common cancers found amongst women. It's a number 2 killer cancer amongst women in Zambia in particular. And there's so many women who can be affected by it, whether you've whether you know someone who's succumbed to breast cancer, or you are currently suffering from breast cancer, or you've just heard about it. So today we're going to be talking about treatment options and getting support. At the beginning of the week, we talked about what breast cancer is and how it's an abnormal growth of cells in your breast that forms a tumor, which can start to compete with your normal healthy living cells for everything that they need, from nutrients, oxygen, and everything else that's supposed to help it function, and the fact that it can spread. And we've also learned that there's several risk factors to it. If you have a family member who's had it before, or if you have a family member who's had any other cancer, even ovarian cancer, or be it any other cancer, you're also at risk. If you're a person who's never had a baby before, you've never breastfed, you had an early period, i.e. below the age of 12, if you are on hormonal replacement therapy, in our women who are postmenopausal, all of those include risk factors for breast cancer. Yesterday, we actually talked about self-examination and how self-examination is the first step to screening, and how women need to get into the habit of self-examination every single month. So you can check out yesterday's episode if you missed it on the same. So when it comes to treatment, there's several treatment methods that are used depending on the stage. So staging of cancer is basically to give us an idea of how far the cancer is in terms of where it is, has it spread, is it treatable, or are we just going to make someone comfortable until, the inevitable happens? So the trick with any cancer is to catch it early. And that is why we're spreading awareness in terms of people needing to screen. The importance of screening cannot be overemphasized. So when it comes to treatment, I'm sure most of us have heard about chemotherapy. This is normally done in a specialized hospital, like one of ours, Cancer Diseases Hospital, where certain chemicals are put into someone's system and they help clear out the cancer. It's a very rigorous process. A lot of people go through quite some gruesome parts of chemotherapy. It has various side effects, but the end goal is treatment and curing a person of cancer. And this will lead me to say that is why it's so important for people to also have a support system when they have been diagnosed with cancer, be it breast cancer, be it cervical cancer, any kind of cancer. You require a lot of support because the treatment process is very, very testing of a person. So we have chemotherapy, and then we also have what we call surgery that helps take away the cancer, where we remove the cancer from the breast. So there's a time when there's a type of surgery where we take away a part of the lobe of the breast, which we call lobectomy, or we could actually remove the entire breast, which is what we call mastectomy, depending on the extent of the cancer, how big the tumor is, whether it's spread or not. Then we also have options like radiation, where a person is exposed to radioactive material that's meant to clear out the cancer cells that the surgeons can't see or remove. And then, of course, we have what we call palliative care, where we just take care of people whose cancer is too far gone, such that we just have to make them comfortable. So like I said earlier, the trick with any cancer, be it breast, be it cervical, be it prostate in men, it's important to screen so that you catch it early. The earlier you catch it, the more easily treatable it might be, and the easier it is to get rid of it. And also even just spread awareness about it. If you're in a family where one person has this type of cancer, it's important for your immediate relatives to also get screened for it. In terms of support groups for cancer, there's the Zambia Cancer Society, which supports all the different kinds of cancer in this country. You can look them up on social media. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to the Teal Sisters Foundation. They mostly focus on cervical cancer, but they also support other cancers that women on the Zambian front face. And right now we've been commemorating Pinktober, which is about breast cancer. So you can also look them up on social media. We'd like to emphasize once more that screening saves so many lives, especially if we catch it early. With any cancer, the downside is catching it when it's late, because it makes it harder to treat or cure. So please self-examine every month in the first 3 to 5 days after your period has started. Make sure you go to your nearest health facility and get an ultrasound done if you are below the age of 40, or a mammogram if you're above the age of 40. And make sure this month of October, take advantage of the different health facilities that are screening for breast cancer, be it government or private facilities. And remember that this weekend, on 21st of October at Arcade Shopping Mall, the Medical Women's Association of Zambia will be carrying out free breast screening for women, as long as you come between the hours of 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. We'll be available to do free breast screening for you. And remember that this is a fundraiser, a fundraising aerobics event in order to support breast cancer awareness. So everyone is going to come in pink to support the cause, and we're going to exercise together and have fun together, have a good health talk together, and most importantly, screen for breast cancer. We hope to continue to look out for more information on breast cancer, get screened, go for screening with a sister, learn how to examine yourself, and look out for the risk factors. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. So we were looking at the Health Corner, discussing issues to do with cancer and the importance of making sure that you go for screening, because the earlier you detect it, the better for you. And the doctor did say what they do when you are diagnosed with cancer, and it really helps in your health. Patrick Soko is here. Patrick, good morning.
Morning, Kozi.
Let's talk about cancer. This is a huge problem. We're lucky that we have a cancer hospital now, but it's advisable that people do screening.
Indeed, I think we've been looking at the cancer Cancer Awareness Month. This entire month of October is dedicated towards cancer awareness, and various organizations and the government undertaking various activities to just commemorate this month to raise awareness pertaining to various types of cancer, and how treatment is done, and how you can access a screening. So interesting enough, we are at a time when prostate cancer is highly affecting us as men. We are also at a time when breast cancer and cervical cancer are among the common cancers, but there are a lot of cancer diseases. So, but what is important is, I think, as the doctor said it, is that we need to be proactive, making sure that you seek screening services area, so that you can be screened, and if it is detected area, it is easy to be treated. Then if it is detected at a later stage, it becomes very difficult. So I think it is important that we also take an interest this month, being the Cancer Awareness Month. We should take an interest and make sure that we go for screening. So it's not just affecting women now, even us as men are affected. So we have to make sure that we also play our part by doing the right thing. But I don't know how you started the program. Did you start the program on a positive note?
Yes, we always start on the program on a positive note. We already tapped into Mimi's positive attitude. So we always start on a positive note. I actually wanted to remind you that we need to remain positive. And what positive thing have you brought today?
It's a difficult question to ask. It's a very difficult.
No, we always have to be positive.
Today, okay, anyway, I come with my positive energy at workplace.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I won't be that one that was going to delay work or fail to handle things or what. I'll be someone who's going to make your work easier. That's the positive energy I'm bringing on the table.
Okay.
Yes, so that everything is flowing, and make sure that I provide that assistance to say, let's not fail to do anything. Let's make sure that we achieve our targets and the goals for the day.
I'm happy that your positive energy extends to the next person.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I don't know what you bring on the table yourself, but because the question you asked me is quite difficult.
Positive vibes. I'm carrying what is spirit, or is it a vibe that is not going to dampen anybody's spirit? I'm carrying a vibe that is going to make sure that I motivate the next person as well, so that they get to get positive as well.
Yeah, yesterday was a birthday for our
one of our colleagues.
Yes, one of our colleagues is the editor.
He had so much negative energy.
Yes, I don't know how the rest of the day ended, because a lot of there was too much negative energy for Mr. Chilela
on his birthday.
And I hope we managed to make sure that he just managed to end the day on a positive note, because we advised him, but he still did not get the advice.
No.
Because
he kept on complaining, asking for advice. You give him advice, he doesn't take it, and
then he upholds that negative energy.
Yeah.
And I think him knows better how we managed to conclude the day. But what we are emphasizing this morning is that we should always put the right attitude towards everything that we are doing, because that's the sure way of us achieving our our objectives. And putting a right perspective is always important, so that we achieve whatever we want to. Because let's not get discouraged or have negative thoughts to say, am I going to manage? Is this task is too huge? No, just believe that God can help you do it. You know, faith is very important. So positive energy also goes along with that faith that you have this morning, and make sure that you end the rest of the day on a positive note as well, by ending the day with a prayer and hoping that your God wakes you up the following day with that right energy that you had the previous day. So now moving on, we have to understand how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles this morning on the money market. So now the greater British pound is buying at 25 kwacha 93 ngwe and selling at 26 kwacha 44 ngwe. The euro is buying at 22 kwacha 52 ngwe and selling at 22 kwacha 96 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 13 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 16 ngwe. $1 is buying at 21 kwacha 30 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 72 ngwe. So those are your money market as of this morning, the 19th of October 2023 at 0712. Those are your updates and pay financial institution that we do monitor. They do vary from financial institution to the other, from bureau de change to the other, but the difference are not significant. They're just cents, but that's the range in terms of how the kwacha is performing this morning. If you are having your money in the Great British Pound, you must be an excited individual, because you are parting away with a lot of kwachas for just a single pound.
So it is interesting that the kwacha has showed a bit of some stability at 21. It's no longer fluctuating to 17, 19, 18. It's at 21. But this is where it was when we saw an increase in the prices of petroleum products. So we do hope that with this stability, we are hoping for. I think it's a good thing that we see a drop in the price of fuel, but as things stand, it looks like we will be at the same price of fuel. We don't expect an increase, neither do we expect a reduction, because it was at 21 when we saw this increase. So I'm suspecting that we are going to remain constant this month as regards the prices of fuel.
Indeed, we can only hope for the best, and like Koze did earlier put it, that it will remain stable. But the stability we're talking about is about being constant for a long time at a certain figure. That is good and vital towards helping us in terms of our planning processes.
Sure.
But however, now moving on, we have to go to our next segment where we get to look at some of the stories that are making the headlines. And today we are looking at various stories. But however, there's an interesting story that cholera has broken out, and this is among the topical stories that we have. So let's see, Minister of Health Asuvia Masebo has announced that Lusaka district has recorded 1 case of cholera, which was confirmed at Kanyama Level 1 Hospital on October 15th, 2023. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Wednesday afternoon, Ms. Masebo says that the case was of a female aged 21 who was presented at Kanyama Hospital on the 14th of October with acute watery diarrhea and vomiting. The minister says a rapid response team was dispatched into the community for contact tracing, and were able to identify a community death that is alleged to have been linked to the cholera case prior to the confirmation of the outbreak. Now, Ms. Masebo was since urged the citizens to practice high levels of hygiene and drink boiled water, chlorinated water, and to avoid further spread of the disease. So that's the story there we have pertaining to cholera. So cholera is back. Make sure that you protect yourselves.
The cholera outbreak has broken out in Lusaka's Kanyama, with 1 case having been confirmed and 1 suspected death. Announcing the outbreak, Minister of Health Asuvia Masebo says the case was confirmed on 15th October 2023 at Kanyama First Level Hospital.
On the 14th of October, with acute watery diarrhea and vomiting. She presented in shock and was successfully resuscitated by the health team at the hospital. Rapid response teams were dispatched into the community for contact tracing and were able to identify a community death that is alleged to have been linked to this index case prior to confirmation of the outbreak.
Ms. Masewa since urged members of the public to practice high levels of hygiene to avoid the spread of the disease, also appealing to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to ensure cleanliness in public places, especially markets.
Local government to please ensure that all our markets, bus stations, and our streets are kept clean. Drainages clean so that we save lives. Because if we don't take these necessary measures ahead of the rain season that has started, we may end up losing more lives. We can prevent that. We don't need to have people dying because of preventable diseases, which are also curable if somebody presents themselves on time. So let us work together, all of us, and let's get ourselves protected.
Speaking at the same occasion, Minister of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. John Kachimba disclosed that the ministry is collaborating with the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company to provide clean water in affected areas.
Our line ministry responsible for water and our partners to ensure that the water supply is clean and it is safe, made available to those areas that are particularly vulnerable. With regard to medical support, we have large stocks of all the requisites required to ensure that we can combat any case, regardless of the numbers that are there. And our hospitals are ready. The plans are presently in place to respond to any eventuality that may come.
Lusaka in recent weeks has been hit with erratic water supply due to maintenance works of the Rwanda 1 water treatment plant in Kafiwe, which has since been completed. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Welcome back there. That's a story pertaining to cholera, the cholera outbreak that has broken out in Lusaka. See, with this heat that was with us, Kozi, it shows that it may not be just in Kanyama that may be affected. I think that is just the beginning of the identification of cases, because there has been erratic water supply, and we have been told that it's not only the issue that Lusaka Water is undertaking maintenance works at the Rwanda treatment plant in Kafiwe, but it is also the fact that we have electricity, erratic shortages in terms of the supply of electricity. Because we are seeing that ZESCO is equally implementing that project of replacing some poles and cables, and that project is also leading to shutdowns, and those shutdowns are affecting supply of water. So we have a very huge problem in these communities pertaining to access to clean water, and we are seeing that with this heat that we are having, the rains again, we are seeing that there's a mixture now of diseases that are now boiling, and one of them that has popped up is cholera.
My greatest fear is that we have erratic water supply, and in these communities you find people struggling to get water. Now cholera, without water around, I think this would be a disaster if we don't take the works at Landa and the works that ZESCO are doing. If they are not done quickly, we might end up having a serious disaster. Because if it starts to rain and we still have erratic water supply, and we have already started recording cholera, I think that we will need to work very, very hard in order to ensure that we don't, the virus does not spread. Because water is very, very critical in this. One of the measures that you need to take when you want to prevent cholera is to frequently wash your hands, wash your fruits before you eat them, cover your food, warm your food, and stuff like that. So water is very vital. You really, really need water in this time. So I think that Lusaka Water and ZESCO must be pushed. with
they need to
protest.
find some temporal measures.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that we need to have a look at. It's a serious issue. So it tells you or tells us how important water is to our daily activities. So let's just make sure that we do the right thing while we can. And now, what are some of the stories that we are looking at?
Another story that we have this morning comes from Kanyama, and it says some residents of Kanyama compound have expressed fear that perennial flooding will reoccur this rainy season due to failure by the authority to work on the drainage system. Now, one of the concerned residents, Peter Piri, has wondered why, despite several years of flooding in the area, there are no developments to rectify the challenge. Now, Kanyama constituency is among the flood-prone areas in Lusaka, but despite promises of working on the drainage system, the situation remains unchanged. Let's have a look at this report.
Most parts of the country have received rains under the 2023-24 rain season. The onset of the rains, however, comes with massive flooding, with the 2022-23 rain season having witnessed one of the worst on record. To this effect, Minister of Local Government and Road Development, Galen Kombo, in August of 2023, promised to commence works on drainages in all the constituencies in Lusaka.
Every constituency, I will lobby them to put money to help with the drainage before the rain comes.
Whilst in some areas drainage works have commenced, residents of Lusaka's Kanyama have expressed concern on the lack of drainage works despite the rain season having commenced.
So the biggest problem we have, we know that now we are nearing the rain season and nothing has been done where drainage systems are concerned. So very soon we'll still experience floods. Whether we like it or not, floods in Kanyama will be here. It will be here simply because the government does not especially execute their duties which they are supposed to be doing, especially to put up the proper drainage system. So they are gone. They will only come back when there will be elections. That's when they will come back and give us other new promises. So whether you like it or not, if you want to come back when the rain starts, you still there a lot of you come and see a lot of floods here. So whether you like it or not, even this year, for as long as the rain will be here, floods will be here also.
It is only hope that authorities will move in to address the situation before the rains intensifies. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Thank you very much. So that is about the drainage system in Kanyama compound, which is one of the flood-prone areas. This is another problem that may exacerbate the cholera problem because drainages have not been cleared in Kanyama. So if we have enough rains, it is not debatable. We are going to have flooding in Kanyama.
Yeah, and that also is a recipe for further outbreaks.
Sure,
we may not only see cholera, we may even see typhoid. We may see a rise in diarrhea-related diseases in general. So I think we hope that our leaders are taking into consideration the concerns being raised by the residents of that community. What is happening in Kanyama Kozi is also happening in Chawama. It is happening in Mutendele, Kalingalinga, and that's a Munari constituency. It is happening in Mandevu constituency because most of the roads in these compounds are bad, don't have drainages. So every time it rains, they end up flooding, and that tends to affect the entire community. And we see issues pertaining to diarrhea-related diseases. So you can now call us in case you want to join the conversation and tell us where you are and tell us if at all, especially those of you in Lusaka, tell us if at all you are seeing any activities pertaining to the construction of drainages ahead of the rainy season, because we are seeing that it's likely to rain early this year, because this is October, because it has rained about twice, I think, in Lusaka, if not thrice, so in some parts. So if we are going to have a same situation like yesterday where we don't have drainages, how is it going to be? You can tell us to say Tell us what has been the commitment in your community when it comes to the community, your leaders. What have they been telling you in terms of the construction of drainages? Tell us if they have started working on them so that we can see how we follow up with them. So that's a story. Those are two stories we've looked at. We looked at one pertaining to Koila, which has broken out. We have also looked at the other one pertaining to drainages. It is the same in most communities. Despite us as a country having a lot of resources at community level under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, which was increased for the year 2023 to a tune of 28.3 million kwacha. And in other areas, and for the 2024 national budget, has been increased to 30.6 million kwacha. But should we continue to fail to construct the minimum drainages? I think we need to make sure that probably permanent drainages are put up in these communities that are linking to in fact, that brings me to another idea where when we talk about water harvesting, Kozi, how do we make sure that we have dams that are able to get this water and reserve it for us so that we can be able to have water at a time when we don't have the rains. So these drainages should be leading to some dams. So now, but how are we doing our planning? I think those are serious questions we need to be asking ourselves, especially if we are to find a long-lasting solution pertaining to this issue of drainages. Because every year, this time around, we always report about this.
I think, yes, I agree with you. And I think that these cosmopolitan constituencies like Chawama, Nali, Kanyama, these Lusaka Central, these constituencies do not have issues like building a 1x2 classroom block, building teachers' houses, building a clinic, building the projects, the CDF projects are not, the CDF money will not go to such projects. So I feel that the CDF committees should briefly start to change their attention and switching it to issues to do with the welfare of the members of their constituencies. In Kanyama, let's say we set aside some money to do one very important drainage or a proper network of drainages, because we know that Kanyama is flood prone.
Yes.
For example, we know in Kabwata that Kamwala South is flood prone. So let's in these areas work on proper drainage systems from the CDF, because in Kamwala South or in Kanyama, the projects that are being worked on will not be like 1x2, but I know that we do have a caller. Let's get to hear what our caller has for us this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling us from? Please go ahead, sir, and tell us what is on your mind.
You know, on the drainage system of Kanyama the Chinese doing a drainage, but the outlet doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So this has caused down the water from the yard, from the backyard, coming back into the houses again.
Oh yeah.
And another thing is our leaders, they have never, since they were voted in, I've never seen any councillor, even the MP towards this area. No one has been. So now when we experience a death like that one, that's when they'll start now coming in numbers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate your contribution. This is what you were talking about as regards to water harvesting. So these drainages, where is
it leading to?
Yeah, so they, according to our previous caller, they lead to a dead end.
You see? So the result, water comes but remains in the drainages and starts flowing into the houses again.
So Kanyama should, at the end of the drainage, have a dam.
Yes.
Where we are going to harvest this water. Though I feel so that these dams should be properly secured so that we don't have children going to drown there. Chawama drainages should lead into Blue Water Dam. It is already there. We are lucky that the drainage is there.
And Ngwenya Dam as well.
And Ngwenya Dam as well. So these should waters from Chawama and part of Kamala South, I think, should come into those two dams. It will help. We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Forest, but recently I was in my area.
Please go ahead, Mr. Andrew.
Yes, the major concept which I've just observed now is that most of these politicians, now use this term, despite it may look as if it's an insult, but it's a correct term. Most of our politicians are very good liars. They are very good at promising things. Look at Kanyama itself. This problem has been there for years and years, and no one has attended to that problem. And sooner or later, these guys will have cholera, will have airborne disease, so to say, including their houses will be demolished by water. Meaning that the government is not doing any better to those people. But let's come 2026, you'll see these, the MPs and the councillors, one chairman, and this so-called CDF organizing committee will be there on full time, heading the election, forgetting the factors. And that now, this is what they should concentrate on development, other than talking about politics and things like that. Please, advise the government, sir.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
yeah, we appreciate your views, and he's concerned that this has been a song because
It's becoming rhetoric.
Yeah, and we just hope that we have to find a lasting solution, because we claim we have money under CDF.
Yes.
I don't think we should have any excuse for failing to do something progressive.
No. If at least it fails this year, let's see at least works start. We need to see people working on some. We have engineers at the council.
Exactly.
Engineers should come up with the network. If I know by saying this, I'm putting my head on the chopping board. If it means bringing down 1 or 2 houses to put up a drainage that is going to save the whole community, I think those people can be compensated.
No, people don't have problem if they are compensated.
Yes,
but you have to just make sure that you bring sanity once and for all.
Yes, that will save the whole of Kanyama.
Yeah, because that reminds me, for example, in the case of Chawama constituency, we had a dam there at Patuka Dam.
Yes.
That dam is being buried, they are dumping waste there, and all the water, because now has nowhere to go. In general, we never used to see floods, but now floods are imminent in that community. Now, but this is already October. We are not seeing action in terms of the drainages. So again, if you look at it, they are saying that water has to go up to as far as Blue Water and also Ngwenya Dam. But there are also consequences. So these two dams have been handling water at a certain level. So no wonder you'd find that water tends to go to be found in people's houses, because if the dam is full to the capacity, it bursts into you see, when the dam bursts, you have another calamity again. You have flooding. So now, are the engineers doing an assessment to say, if we are going to link this drainage to Ngwenya Dam and Blue Water Dam, is it going to have the capacity to handle this pressure? If the answer is no, we should find a way again. How do we find a way that this same water goes through the Bombay drainage? You see, then we take it to the Bombay drainage. The Bombay drainage goes up to Ngwerere, up to Ngwerere stream.
Sure.
Then goes into Chongwe River. How do we make sure that is achieved? I think that's the whole idea of planning. Now, if our planners are not doing anything about it, then these problems will continue. Government in, government out. It will remain the same. So I think we need to be proactive, and those of you who have called us did just indicate your concern based on what you are observing in your community. And we did get it from someone from Kanyama who is actually on the ground explaining to us about what the challenges they face, especially pertaining to the issue of drainages. So you too can give us your perspective on the subject at hand. How would you want us to handle the issues pertaining to drainages? Because even in the CBD, it now floods.
Yeah, and I was impressed last week, early this week. I was in town and I found some works at
the Kulima Tower area.
I hope that was not a blockage. I hope that they are working on a drainage, because Kulima Tower is one of the stations that is well known for flooding. Yeah, so I think there is need to work on the drainage system at that particular area, and we hope that the works that we saw are to help the situation, because the current situation is not bad. And I have put it, areas like Lusaka Central Town area should throw their waters into the Bombay drainage, which takes it at the end in Tonga.
Yeah, that's why we had that Millennium Challenge Account project. It was in view of managing these flood situations, because even as the population grows, you have to understand that the pressure also increases, and the demand for water, demand for everything increases. So we should be planning in tandem with that. So if you had a small drainage, it may not be able to handle the pressure in 2023 or 2024. So you should, but the drainages of the magnitude of the Bombay drain, those are drainages that are long lasting. They are sustainable, because they just also need maintenance, because we've seen that in some places they are not well barricaded. So we see a lot of irregularities, people, young children getting into the drainage, swimming, all those things. It's quite risky, and we need to make sure that the entire drain is covered, so that we avoid calamities. We have seen calamities before because of the same, but we have to. How can we complement that? We have money now. I'll continue to emphasize that, because that money is said to be for the community, and each community manages to have a drainage. It means that ultimately we have a country that is well networked in terms of drainages.
Let's get to see what some of our viewers on Facebook have to say about what we are discussing this morning. Kingsley Majila says, good morning, guys. How are you doing, guys? Keep up the good work. May God bless you all the time and your family. We are together from Mazaboka, the sweetest town. Thank you very much, Kingsley. We really do appreciate your support. Joyce Mo says, tell your community to clean up their environments, boil drinking water, and involve the CDF funds. Otherwise, just talking on radio stations won't help. Zambians love complaining a lot. Thank you very much for that message. I think that Joyce's message goes back to the issue of cholera, and for us to be safe, we need to boil drinking water and clean the environments in order to ensure that we protect ourselves from cholera. But we are also talking the issue of the drainage system in Lusaka and in the other flood-prone areas. What are our leaders doing to try and help that particular situation? You can call us on the numbers that are on your screens if you want to contribute, or you can go to our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV. Go to this particular broadcast and leave your comments in the comment section. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are discussing this particular morning. Patrick, do we have any other stories?
Indeed, because we do have some stories, and we had an interesting stories today. We can't forget that yesterday was the National Day of Prayer. Were you fasting yourself?
Yes, yesterday was...
Can you start?
No, I'm agreed with you that yes, it was a National Day of Prayer.
Because we are in Shima together now, I'm wondering to say yes.
Yes, yesterday was the National Day of Prayer and reconciliation. And people were fasting and praying for the nation. And unfortunately, me and you did not participate in the fasting. But we keep praying every day for our nation and for our country. It is just that unfortunately yesterday we were not in a position to participate in the fasting. But we have continued also to pray for the country.
That is good news, Cozy, there. that we have continued to pray for the country. And interesting. So let's have a look at the story where scores of Lusaka residents Wednesday morning convened at the showgrounds to observe the National Day of Prayer, Fasting, Repentance and Reconciliation. The national event themed Building Zambia for Greater Development Through Prayer, Unity and Hard Work was graced by Republican Vice President Mutale Nalumango. Meanwhile, some believers have reiterated the importance of the day, which among them invoking God to heal the land and arrest the hardships that the country is going through. Let's have a look at this story. We'll be back on the other side. Let's keep interacting the Camnet Breakfast Show.
Zambians today, Wednesday, October 18th, gathered in various places in various parts of the country to observe the National Day of Prayer, Fasting, Reconciliation and Repentance. In Lusaka, the young and the old convened at the showgrounds to surrender themselves to the Creator. Some believers who are in attendance at the showgrounds emphasizes the importance of this day.
Zambia being a Christian nation, we are supposed to be having prayers for the nation to make sure that we see God coming through in our nation, to deal with issues that relate to, unity, to deal with issues relating to reconciliation, the economy of this nation, the cost of living, because it's only God, because we are saying as a nation, we depend on God, we trust God, we have faith in God to transform this nation. And that's why we are here to pray, to speak to God, to talk to God and say, God, we cannot run on our own, but we want you to come in the affairs of men and transform this nation.
Basically to just come and sing and be part of this great occasion, which only comes once in a year. This is prayer and fasting.
Republican Vice President Mutale Nalumango graced the event and urged Zambians to continue being prayerful at all times.
As a Christian nation, we must remain God-fearing. We must continue to be prayerful. It is through prayer that God will listen and answer our call for His divine guidance and intervention, as the theme has indicated. We need to ensure that we are a people recognized for being of high moral
who attended the church service at Shalom Embassy in Lusaka at the request of its leader, Pastor Sande Sinyangwe, released the Zambian people from all the bondage that may be tied to them due to his mistreatment.
Today is supposed to be a day of reconciliation, prayer, fasting, and I believe that Zambians throughout the country are on their knees reconciling with one another. And might take advantage of this occasion to simply say it openly that I hold no grudge against anyone. Amen. And therefore, if there's any perception that I've held the blessings against the Zambians, please, may God release the Zambians from that perception that I'm holding back their favor and grace. In saying so, I myself have got a very clear conscience, and please pray for me so that I can also pray for you.
Meanwhile, it was business as usual in the Lusaka Central Business District as some business people and citizens went about their day-to-day activities. This year's National Day of Prayer, Fasting, Repentance and Reconciliation is themed Building Zambia for Greater Development Through Prayer, Unity and Hard Work. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka. Earlier this week, government flooded the market with the Eagles branded ZNS meal meal to cushion the high cost of the commodity in the country. Some restaurant owners and residents in Lusaka have welcomed the move by government, however, are of the suggestion that government further reduces the price of the staple food.
na mtengo at least wa chitakonga wabwererako kule mushe at least kuchira wamene tigula uti 300. But tibwezera kwanga tibwezereko food.
Unga wakadedenesi. Bali wodula unga. Kuliwena kusokanisa na 230 amene unga ufunika chabe bwere na kwa 120. Ubanza ona chindu kakhala kubwera.
For others, like this restaurant owner of Lusaka's Kamala South, the move made by government amounts to nothing because of the distance to stores where they can access the commodity.
Uyo unga wa ZNS uyo nimvera chabe kuti kuli unga wa ZNS but tikalibo gulako. In fact kuno kuli bena shoprite ili kutali nchimozi oti nzachoka pano nikaenda ogula kuja na mtengo chaena gulira kuja uchoka kuja uleta kuno unga nchimozi nogula kuno 300 chakuti. Maona ka kutatireta ko loka shop aika mweka weka wa ZNS wamne ochingankale ko bwe.
Currently, the Zambia National Service ZNS meal meal is fetching at 230 kwacha for breakfast and 190 kwacha for roller meal per 25 kg. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
So that is about the National Day of Prayer and Reconciliation that was held in various parts of the country. We did focus on Lusaka in that particular story, and also we did look at a story of Milli Meal and the supply of Milli Meal by ZNS to various shopping chain stores. And we continue giving you an opportunity to interact with us on this particular program by calling the numbers on the screens so that you give us your thoughts on what we are looking at this morning, the stories we are looking at this particular morning. We did look at the story of the outbreak of cholera in Kanyama, and we also did look at the story of the drainage system in Kanyama, and we did also look at another story as regards Milli Meal and ZNS being given that mandate to supply Milli Meal to shopping stores. So moving on, another story that was making the headlines in the news says Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet for Finance and Economic Development, Siazongo Siakalenge, says he is impressed with the development at Zambia Jiangxi Cooperation Economic Zone. Now, speaking when he toured the facility Tuesday, Mr. Siakalenge says government realized 1.2 million United States dollars for the formulation of the master plan that was to be implemented at the Lusaka South Multi-Economic Facility Zone, but that the plan is not being followed. Now, he says multi-facility zones have the potential to attract real investments and foster economic growth if well managed, hence the need for Zambia to learn from how China is managing the facilities. Meanwhile, Better Technology Group Chief Executive Officer Polly Way says she will be setting up a 1 million United States dollars battery company at Zambia Sing Multi-Facility Zone, which is expected to commence by March next year. Let's have a look at this report.
Deputy Secretary to Cabinet for Finance and Economic Development, Siazongo Siakalenga, has toured the newly commissioned Zambia Jiangxi Cooperative Economic Zone located in Chibombo District of Central Province. Mr. Siakalenga, who was accompanied by the Zambia Development Agency Director General Albert Halwampa, took time to understand some of the proposed investments in the facility zones and how they will impact the Zambian economy. One local company is already supplying furniture to companies across the country, a development which has excited Mr. Siakalenga.
This furniture was locally manufactured by a company called Scale, and Scale is employing a lot of young Zambians. In terms of quality and standards, you find furniture exactly like this in China.
A transformer assembly plant has already been established at the facility, and it will now save on the time the power utility company such as Zesco spends on importing transformers now that they are being assembled here in Zambia.
The developers of this multi-facility economic zone had put in or are going to invest something in the region of 600 million US dollars. That's not a small amount. It's a big amount. And of course, over and above that, individual companies are going to invest.
In Beta, Technology Group Chief Executive Officer Polly Wen is already in Zambia to check on the facility that will be used to set up a battery manufacturing plant with an initial investment plan of $100 million and is expected to commence by March next year.
About December of this year, we will deliver the equipment, the machines from China, and maybe 2 months for sea shipping. After March, my people will more people come here for the installation and commissioning. We plan to start the product. The battery start the production about May, maybe the first battery will come out.
In Zambia, Development Agency ZDA Director General is optimistic that with such kind of investment in the facility zones, companies can now set up their businesses without any disruption to production.
Following the budgets from 2021, the thresholds for investing into the multi-facility economic zones, especially for Zambians, was reduced from $500,000 to $50,000. And if you invest in a multi-facility economic zone, and then you begin to manufacture and exporting, you are given very generous incentives, such as 10 years tax holidays for profits and dividends.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Secretary is not happy that government spent $1.2 million to formulate a master plan for the Lusaka South Multi-Facility Zone, whose implementation strategy have been overlooked.
The infrastructure there is supposed to be world-class. The buildings there are supposed to be defined in the master plan. What did you see there? You see all sorts of structures. So somebody from the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, or indeed the Zambia Development Agency, are supposed to follow up and ensure that investors in the Lusaka South Multi-Facility Economic Zone follow what is put in the master plan.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Thank you very much, Prudence, for that particular report from Chibombo District. On that note, we need to leave, Patrick.
Indeed, this is where we have to call it a day until tomorrow when Prudence Chota comes with a business for breakfast. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel. This has been Patrick Soko and Makokwa Kozi, your usual hosts.